Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show called DYOR Live. It is May 26, 2023, and it is Monday Markets Update. What is going on? Wow, another feedback in my ear. Woo! And my mic is a little overdone. Anyway, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good show for you today. Pedro, as usual, is running late, dealing with insurance companies from turning his nice car into a piece of rolling garbage last week. So he'll be on with us as soon as we can. But that doesn't matter. We got a lot going on here. We got a lot of news to talk about, a lot of stuff coming up this week. What's ahead this week? Obviously, today is Memorial Day in the United States, so the biggest markets are closed right now. Chicago Mercantile Exchange is closed. New York Stock Exchange is closed. It's a big holiday celebrating everyone that has given their ultimate sacrifice for not just the United States, but since we're a global community here, everyone that lives in a country where your soldier has given the ultimate sacrifice in defense of their homeland. We celebrate you today. I was fortunate my grandfather fought in World War II. And we celebrate him on Veterans Day because he lived, but we still, most of the people in his unit did not make it. And of course, many died in World War II and many in all the wars that we've been in. And we celebrate those who've given those their ultimate sacrifice. So hats off to you guys. Upcoming this week, Tuesday is the durable goods, so it should be a little crazy trading in the morning at 8:30. Wednesday, the FOMC meeting minutes. Not a lot going on with the FOMC as far as rate changes, so the minutes won't affect us that much. Thursday at 8:30 is unemployment claims. Usually a market whoop-de-woo in the morning as people try to front run that and guess what's going on. And Friday is the PCE, which is the core personal expenditures. Basically, what you and I are spending out of our hard-earned pockets. And if we're spending more, that's good. If we're not, it's not good. It has a lot to do with inflation. If we're buying more, it's going to drive the prices up. If we're not buying more, it will cause prices to come down as companies lower their prices. So that's a good one. Friday is usually, the PCE is usually kind of makes the market fun and go get some volatility. And if I believe what somebody was telling me, go up because we always seem to make it. Our personal expenditures go up. Anyway, my great comment machine isn't working today. I just updated it, and it's not working, so I can't see the comments here. But thanks, everybody. I can see people watching us on Rumble. Thank you very much for joining us on Rumble. You know what? Let me try and get the great comment machine going. Again, no, that's not what. No. Now I don't have any idea what's going on here. Arg. Let's check out the great comment machine here. See, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Welcome, everyone. Please like, share, comment, follow, subscribe. Just do it. Well, it's an interesting day today. I'm in Ottawa, Ontario today. Hold on, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Pedro saying that he is going to be here in just a moment. Anyway, like I said, the great comment machine not working, but we will be as Pedro comes on to give you the goods today. We will get that comment machine going. But anyway, welcome to Pure Chad on Rumble. Thank you very much. Testing. Pure Chad, welcome to the show. Really appreciate it. Drop a comment here. Tell us where you're coming to us from, how you found out about us. We'd always love to know. See you later, Mrs. Striking. Mrs. Striking is off for some work-related events. Ladies and gentlemen, as we can see, I'm gonna go over Bitcoin a little bit here before Pedro comes on. But one of the things I did want to point out here, I always find this to be interesting. Strategy. They're actually getting sued by some of their shareholders. Some of their shareholders claim that they didn't understand the risk, and MicroStrategy did not, Michael Saylor especially, did not explain the risks associated with it. They're up $40 billion and they're complaining. They're complaining, ladies and gentlemen. This is the state that we're in now. Well, I'm going to change the music while we're at this here, waiting for Pedro. So people are complaining. Didn't understand the risks. Didn't communicate it well. Like I said, pretty much everything is legal as long as you communicate it. You got to let everyone know in your prospectus. And they're buying the Bitcoin like crazy. There isn't a person in crypto or associated with digital assets that doesn't understand what they're doing. Bitcoin Treasury Company strategy on Monday announced. That's interesting how they're now called the Bitcoin Strategy. Announced, or Bitcoin Treasury Company. Another crypto buy brings its total holdings to over 580,000 BTC, worth $63 billion at today's prices. I think they've got a 20% equity, not $20 billion equity in that. Bought 4,000 Bitcoin last week for an average price of $106,000 per digital coin. That's nearly another $500 million worth. Michael says the strategy has acquired 4,020 BTC for 427 million at blah blah blah. Achieved a yield of 16.8. I mean, he's killing it. He's killing the market. I realize that we may not know the strategy exactly because that's mostly in his head, other than buy, and use the equity he's building to buy more. It's what all of us are trying to do in crypto, right? Right. Let's update the Bitcoin price here. See what's going on. But the shareholders are like, some of the shareholders, most are like, yeah, woo, going to the bank. Their stock is at 369, 8% lower. The stock is very volatile, moves with Bitcoin's price. MicroStrategy has rocketed since it started buying the leading cryptocurrency in 2020 as a trader for it was trading for under $15 a pop back then in 2020. No. Is up more than 2,400%. Other companies followed the lead. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, should we expect this to be the top? Oh, yeah. Look, Bitcoin just tanked. I'm only up 20 bucks. Let's close that out. Had a little trade on there with fees. Lost $4. Arrgh. You know what? I really despise... I despise exchanges. And when your P&L says you're up 20 and you flash close it and you lose money because they gave you a terrible fill. It's just not right. It's not right, ladies and gentlemen. It's not right at all. I'll complain about that later. Let's get back at it. Pedro's going to be coming on here in a second. Arrgh. Anyway, back to the news. Strategy just shrugs off the lawsuit. Anyway, I found that to be interesting. One of the other things, I was listening to another streamer today talking about having security. And I shouldn't say streamer. I should say investor, big-time crypto investor that streams and is a public figure. And they let it out that they have security now. And they have someone that watches over them because of all the attacks in crypto, mostly in Europe. Lot more, we'll say, various different mafias of porous borders and that type of stuff. But it happened here in Canada. Happened to the CEO and chairman of WonderFi here, Dean Skirka. And they get kidnapped and they get held for money, held for ransom. And what this article is telling you, if you've got a ton of crypto, if you have a ton of money in the bank, or say you're a millionaire, you have $1 million. Do you carry it all in your pocket? Like this, just right there in your pocket? Or is it in your bank, who, if you suddenly try to withdraw $1 million, they're like, nope, security hold. Yeah, so people don't treat their crypto like that. If you have a lot of money in crypto, you should not have access to your keys so someone could come up and grab your phone and make you trade it. That's just bad security planning. And so there's a good article about that. I know I have so many super wealthy people watching this show. But anyway, Bitcoin coming down off of its pump here. Unfortunately, yeah, it was up $50 on the trade. I had a nice little trade this morning, or this afternoon. We had some bullish divergence that I had picked out on this little, I don't know, we'll call it mini flag or whatever you want to call it. But setting up for the show, talking to Pedro, I didn't sell it when I should have. I should have sold it. I should have sold it right here when I saw that last jump up. It made $55, but no, let it come all the way back down. And then when I was at $20, I hit flash. I flash closed it, and instead of a $20 P&L, it gave me a minus $3 P&L. So I had a good streak going of very few losses this week, but I added to it just because I was lazy and stupid on that one. Dumb. Anyway, here Mr. Pedro coming in the background. He'll be with us shortly. But back to the news real quickly. What is the other article I had up for you guys? Where'd it go? Oh yeah, on that the Law and Order thing. That's right. A crypto investor has been arrested and charged with kidnapping and torturing another man in a violent bid to obtain access to his Bitcoin wallet. That's how it is. There's a famous Bitcoin... Pedro, I'll bring you on in 1 second here. There's a famous meme about... that's used in many industries, especially the spy industry, or including cybersecurity. And it's two stick figures, and it's called the $5 wrench. How to break any password for $5. You go buy a $5 wrench and you threaten to hit the guy on the head with it, and he gives you his password. And so this story is a great example of that. John Waltz, 37, was taken into custody Friday night after his victim escaped a luxury Manhattan townhome where he had been held captive for weeks. According to prosecutors, the man was bound, beaten, drugged, and electrocuted. Pedro should be able to hear me. Pedro, check, Pedro. Check 1, 2, 3. No, you can't hear me. Check 1, 2, Pedro. I'll bring you up in 1 second here, Pedro. 1 second. All right. Anyway, the victim, a 28-year-old Italian national, arrived in New York in early May and was abducted on May 6th. He eventually managed to escape Friday after pretending to retrieve his password from another room. Waltz was arraigned Saturday on charges of kidnapping, assault, unlawful imprisonment, weapons possession, etc. Prosecutors said Waltz was not acting alone, citing an unapprehended male co-conspirator. A search of the property revealed, get this, cocaine, a saw, chicken wire, night vision goggles, and Polaroids of the victim with a gun to his head. This is, as digital assets grow in value and profile, criminals are increasingly turning to violence to bypass encryption. Like I said, the $5 wrench solution. You can break any password in the world with a $5 wrench. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the guts of the show here. And the guts of the show includes my cohort here. This guy, let's see if my computer will respond accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, the man in the box. Mr. Pedro Garcia. Pedro, what's happening today?
Hey guys, how you doing? Hope everybody is well. It is well, man. I was just chilling, man, thinking it was Labor Day, or not Labor Day.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, and I'm like, dog, dude, this is markets chilling. And then I was like, I wonder if we're doing a show. And then I forgot to mark it down in my calendar, so I should have done that. That was my bad.
Well, usually when you're running a little bit late, I ping the
Yeah.
the go live, and you get that, and you're like, oh, go. But not this time.
Yeah.
That's all right.
That was my bad. Sorry about that, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. It has been a crazy couple of days with crypto, dude. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine. He was telling me, yo, and I didn't realize that was this weekend. So he was telling me, oh, did you hear about that crypto guy getting, oh, I am off center. Give me a second. Let me move me. There we are. He was just telling me, he's like, did you hear about that guy? And let's try this again.
I need some light here.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that's probably it. I probably need to move that. All right, cool. So he was telling me about the whole entire abduction guy with the crypto. I was like, oh, that's old news. That happened a couple weeks ago. He goes, no, man, it just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah. And I said, so it's not this guy, it's not that. He's like, nah. And then I was like, it's a single guy? He's like, yeah. And then I started telling him about all the stuff that's happening in France and a couple other places. And this was here in the United States. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's in New York.
Dude. What was the guy's name who they tried to abduct?
In this article just as an Italian man. But he was acting in cahoots with someone else who I don't know who that was.
Say that again. You just broke up for whatever reason. I didn't hear that. All I heard was he just.
John Waltz was taken into custody Friday night after his victim escaped a luxury Manhattan townhouse where he'd been held captive for weeks. According to prosecutors, the man was bound, beaten, drugged, and electrocuted as part of a prolonged attempt to force him to give up his password. Just says the victim, a 28-year-old Italian national, arrived in New York in early May and was abducted on May 6th. All I can think about is that the Italian national was well known in the crypto industry, and perhaps the Italian mafia called their friends in New York and said, we know how to get money from this guy. And I was saying before you came on, Pedro, there's another article, 7 Ways to Protect Yourself against crypto attacks, and I don't mean hacking your wallet, but
physical, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of physical attacks going on, and as we talk about this all the time, a lot of people in crypto didn't grow up wealthy, didn't grow up with those natural protections against crime, and carry around all their money in their pocket. Like, imagine if instead of having a bank account, you had $1 million and you put it in your pocket, and just carried it around with you. That's essentially what we're doing with having Bitcoin or crypto wallets on your phone. You need to have now I have 2 kids in university, or not, actually one just graduated, so there's not a lot in the old crypto phone anymore, but back in the day, in the last bull run, at one point I had a separate phone that was Wi-Fi only that never left the house, stayed in the safe, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, and don't have that issue anymore. But the point was I wasn't about to walk around Chicago with all my money on it, and people do that and they get kidnapped. And so the point was treat when you have a lot of money and people know it, you can't have custody of your private keys. I don't mean give them to an exchange. I mean, don't have them on you. So even if someone puts a gun to your head, you're like, I can't give you my money. Now you may end up dead, but you didn't give up your money.
Well, here's the thing, man. I mean, I'll put it like this. I mean, in today's world now, you just tell the person, like, you understand that wherever you pull this out of, they will know where you're at.
Right.
Like, and as soon as you pull that out into real fiat money, you're gone. Now, wherever you spend that money at, you're gone, because it will ping. And there are agencies around the world now looking to capture these criminals. As it's no joke. Like, the fact is that, like, Trump, if he has a meme coin, there are a lot of people who are very powerful who are like, I think something's going to happen pretty bad that's going to even the playing field. It's just it's natural selection is what happens. Just like I said with Nvidia was too powerful. There's somebody's going to come along and knock on their door who's going to be smaller and more efficient, and they're going to come and knock. And so if they're going to have to, and then they stepped it up to within 2 years, right, year and a half. You saw them just change things, and now they have a whole entire new structure of doing stuff, and it's kind of impressive. But either way, just natural selection. Whenever there's a push, there's always a pushback, right? It's just how it works. And I wonder what's going to come next when it comes to that, because ultimately, that is something that we see. Whether that is crypto guys start carrying like guns, whether that is, especially
most guys in the U.S. that I know do. I've talked to a couple of them. They're like, I mean, I live in Chicago. I'm armed all the time. It's like, I'm going to go use the restroom.
yeah, like for real. Like that's on the real, right? Like carry two, got a backup, right? Boom. I've been trying to like master that like click drop. What's his name does? On
John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. Dude, that is so hard. Like it's just like clank, clank, but it's like click, 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 click. Pow, 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 pow,
pew, pew,
pow, 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 pew, 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 pew. But it's scary, dude, right? Because you're just like, I don't want any of that, right? Like I don't want to have somebody's life on my conscience, I don't want. But
that's not a problem. If it's you or me, it's pretty much. I'll be like, nah, they made their choice. I don't mean you. I mean,
yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. But the thing is, you also got kids and that rely on you. You got a wife that relies on you, right? Like, it's just me. So, and like I'm a foster kid. I'm an orphan. So it's like, whatever. But what's interesting is I think what I see most people do, and I think what's really cool is that ability to be able to defend yourself. Like it's amazing. Like taking Krav Maga or some type of real battle fighting martial art, whether that's Muay Thai or whether that is Jiu-Jitsu, right? But that stuff also helps you out quite a bit, and if you don't want to go into that black unmarked van, right, like it'll be a bad day for some people. But I mean, nobody ever wants that. Who do we know who why they tried to rob that guy? What was he, the leader of a protocol? Was he
He had a big Bitcoin wallet, and somehow the bad guys knew that, and they wanted his passcode, and he wouldn't give it up. Now maybe he didn't know it. Maybe he didn't know his passcode. Maybe he had his custody service, like
Caitlin Long,
like Caitlin's company, holding on to that stuff for him. That's also a good.
The custody thing is awesome. Now, how do they know to find him? Like his family started reaching out to him, or
no? The guy escaped. He escaped to the townhouse. Somehow, some way or another, after 2 or 3 weeks, he probably bid his time well. He managed to give the guy the old 1-2 boop boop boop, and get out of his chicken wire enclosure that he was in.
Wait a minute, chicken wire?
They made a little chicken wire cage for him.
A grown man.
And apparently ran electricity through it. How about that?
Yeah, you can. When a push comes to shove, you can suffer through a lot of things, man. The body's amazing.
It's interesting though. To be honest, if that happened, in I don't know how it works in Italy, but in the U.S. you have insurance against crime, and obviously up to so much money. It depends on the limits of your policy. But if you're going to have big money in your life, or if you have big exposure to anything, you have to have insurance. You have to have proper insurance, and insurance covers that shit. So if to be honest, if someone came and put a gun to my head and said, you give it up or else, I'm like, okay, here you go. Here you go. And then you go to your insurance company and claim, dude just took my $1.9 million. And file a police report, let them go do their thing. They'll pay you. They essentially have to. And then the bad guys know to come steal your cash now.
Well, by that time, you're just at a point where like you're so paranoid. I mean, that guy will be paranoid for the rest of his life.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's no, he will pull a gun out and be like, back up.
Well, you see it happen in South America a lot. A lot of those guys in Brazil and Argentina, and to be honest, I've seen them from Paraguay and Uruguay too. They had nothing in their life, and all of a sudden they're on TikTok and all this kind of stuff, flashing their Hyundais and talking about all this money they're making in crypto. And they have serious organized crime things down there, and the national police forces that aren't as strong, or maybe on the take from certain people.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's no you guys in the U.S. that haven't been on the take. Come on. And those guys wind up like chopped up in barrels with the acid on them. Weird. Anyway, we started out talking. I think I got the great comment machine working, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's try it out here.
Let's see. Hey, there we go.
No, it doesn't work with the...
We got Vincent. Yeah, boom.
It's not working with Rumble. Let me try and reload that and see if it happens.
All right. Well, while you're doing it, let's jump into Bitcoin over the weekend here, see what it tried to do. So we had Friday, the big sell-off here. We had Saturday, almost went green. We actually went red for a time in the day. So I was actually trying to see what was actually going to happen for the end of Sunday. But you can see Sunday basically turned red, or turned green as it was red first thing in the morning. So it was one of those things I was watching to see what it's doing for the weekend and see how the institutions are positioning themselves. And the fact that they ended at green this morning or yesterday evening, like screamed to me, like I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna probably drop it today. So it was like one of those moments I was like, well, we'll see what's up, see what they do. But you can see here they're kind of playing this field here. They've kind of pushed up over the weekend to now kind of drop it
Welcome,
down.
Vincent.
Most likely to like that
Carmen from Nigeria
area here, as they pull back into this level, kind of prepare for a good little bounce. That's going to be around... Give me 1 second. You guys can see right here. It's going to be around this 108, 107 area here. Kind of waiting to see what they're going to do. But yeah, it was actually pretty open what they were trying to do. But ultimately, you can see right here. Boom. It came up and hit this level. Looks like almost came back and hit this level and then pulled out. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things about in crypto that I don't understand is this thing of how they like to flash, especially like big wallet holders or other, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand that. When I started seeing that, I was like, that is just dumb. And I always thought that literally puts you in an area to get hurt.
I know.
So...
I think before you came on, I was mentioning in researching some of these articles, I found, and also talking to some, I found that a bunch of crypto investors that also stream, not like Yo Bro streamers, now have security because of all the attacks that have stepped up on them, and whether the attacks are more or just more public. Now the John Lopp, is that his name? John Lopp, or can't remember his first name. Keeps track of those things. One of the original Bitcoiner guys on a blog, and there's lots of them, but I don't know how many of them are reported. So we don't actually know if the real number's going up or real number's going down. But they're more visible. They're more visible for sure.
What I don't understand though is why is it now? Like, why now?
I don't know. It's like you said, it seems kind of counterintuitive because law enforcement can track pretty much any crypto transaction they want now, and they can get a clue. Hard. And if it has any, if it has any foreign, government
connection,
then the intelligence guys can get involved, and they can, the intelligence guys don't follow any of the rules.
Yeah, they take your children. They can use
whatever investigative methods they want.
Right, but they do stuff in other like to Americans they can't do certain things, but in other countries they'll.
Right. No, even if it's in the U.S. and they think that it has a foreign connection, they can go through whatever records they want and get clues. It might not be able to be used in court, but they'll find you. And that's probably how the French are doing it. The French have a different system of law, and the judges can order like all measures be taken, and they just go into the intelligence systems and find small details of where the people are that otherwise judges in the U.S. would not give, like blanket searches on all their relatives and everything.
Yep.
Yada yada, blah blah blah. Anyway, we're going on too long about that. Bitcoin, Pedro, has been interesting the past couple of days. We've seen pretty good pumps. It's been coming up fairly, I should say, in a good way the past 24 hours or so, 48 hours. Like you said, it hit, what is it? Hit the local high is, I don't know, 110 and a half or something like that.
110, 463, yeah.
Everyone's hoping for that FOMO pump up into 112 and possibly new highs. But it's Memorial Day. The biggest market in the biggest time, biggest session trading is the New York time, and all those guys are off today.
Yeah. What's interesting though is that this morning it actually saw some decent volume on Bitcoin. I mean, look at this amount of volume that we saw on Bitcoin comparative to even last, since the 19th. Today's session was it's the second highest volume session for the last 2 weeks.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the volume here. Boom.
Right here, you can see it. So that's what, for me, I'm looking at that going like, something is happening.
Did that start in New York time or Asia time? It started, it started today.
New York.
Yeah, New York. Late New York time. New York! Yeah, it started out with that pump that from 109, up to 110.3 or something like that. Yeah. Everybody in the planet was looking at that on a short-term thing and saying that trade was just going to roll over. Not trade, but the pattern. It had pumped yesterday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then kind of rolled around, and it was looking to just here. Let me bring my screen up here. If you can see my screen, it was just looked like it was coming up like that, and then it was going to come back down and perhaps retrace to. There's two things here. One called the 786 Fibonacci, but there's also a little spot in there that Pedro taught me to look for orders and that type of stuff. Kind of almost in the exact same spot. So everyone was like, "It's going to come down to that." And another streamer said, in fact, his name was Sam, said, "Nope, it's not going to do that. It's going to go up. There's hidden bullish divergence." And sure enough, like 20 minutes later, it pumped to 110.3. And Pedro, I had a trade in on that. I was like, yeah, it's going to do that. Okay. Just a small trade. And I was up $50, $55 to be exact.
Nice.
And then I got distracted with setting up the show and all that type of stuff. And then when I went live, I started looking at it. And I was like, ooh, it's coming down. And you can see the market, or it dropping here. It dropped all the way back down to 109.52.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I was only at a $20 profit. And I'm like, let's just close this out. I got the show to do. I can't watch this. And I closed it out, and it gave me, without fees, it gave me a minus $3 P&L. But I was up 20. And I hate that when the exchanges do that to you. And you're like, there's no way my order, which was so small, had to be matched with something way out of the market.
It
drives me nuts.
This is where I'm a huge proponent on an exchange that has big volume. This is what first, because if I know that I'm going to send people to an exchange.
This has happened to me with Mexi too.
Has it?
Yeah, and it's just, they're like, oh, we may match your trade to fit in with other things, and they match in with the loss. And I get it. I'm not that concerned about $20 worth of $3. But you know what I am doing, Pedro? I have been keeping a journal, and I'm keeping data and keeping ratios, especially since I started kind of officially at this last week. And I like having a nice positive rating that's based on real thought processes. Either it hit my take profits, or it hit my stop, or it hit, some other real reason that I got the result. But the result shouldn't be because I pressed a button and they're like, we're going to say that you lost money. I mean, never once has that matching that exchanges where we may match your order with something else that's slightly out of the market to facilitate better workings of the exchange. It's never once worked in your favor where you're like, all right. Oh, I got a $20 P&L. I'll hit the button to close. And then you're like, hey, I made $25. Hey, woo! No, that's never the case. It's always less. So they're screwing you.
Yeah, until that. I need to know. So, did you reach out to the exchange and said, hey, what happened here? Because this is now, I'm starting to notice this happened multiple times now.
I did with them. And one of the problems was that, not with the order matching, but with the bad fills. And I'm going to bring that up again and just keep tweaking them and stuff like that.
So here's my question. Did you get out with market order or did you get out with a...
No, it was a market order, which I understand has plenty of flexibility in it. But when you have a $20 and the market's not moving, it's not like it's, it's like, oh my God, it's moving. It's just kind of bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah. But when you get out and it's, 50% of your trade difference, I was at 55 and went down to 20, and then the last little bit you click go to go out of it, and you're like, you lose money. You're like, no. But our affiliate rep, that was not affiliate rep, but our rep at the company, whose QR code is right here, left, and that whole commission structure fee rebate structure got screwed up. So I fixed that.
I was going to say, is it time for us to look at for other...
That's not for a talk on the air. DYOR may be watching the show since I invited her to do that.
Well, DYOR, let's take care of business.
Let's step it up.
Yeah. Once we start doing, the reason why is because we're going to start the app going, and we're going to start trading and helping people look at the market and make their own decisions and get in and out of the market easier and smarter. And so because of that, we need to make sure that our people are taken care of and that they're not going to, because as it grows and those commissions start to grow, this is a big deal for me, especially for the traders who have small accounts. To me, that I think personally, I take that more responsible than guys who have big accounts. Not that I don't, you can handle a loss.
That's all right, ladies and gentlemen. Crypto Mike in the house. Let's be a little Canada-centric for a minute. Pedro, guess who is visiting Canada today? And I know Mike won't care, but that's tough shit.
I'm assuming Trump?
The King! The King is coming, ladies and gentlemen.
Charles.
King Charles III and Queen Camilla are coming to Canada for the first time as the reigning monarch of Canada. And while many people in Canada are not monarchists, as they say, they want to be done with the kingeries and that type of stuff. I'm an old school type of person, and I enjoy the monarchy. If you are they don't really do much in Canada because there's no tourist stuff. But in the UK, there's a massive tourist stuff around the monarchy, and they make tons of money for the country. And it's good to hear a little shumpity shump and a humpity humping and chuffity my nuts. And horses are going up and down the street chewing off with your head and drawing quarter. Love all of that stuff. I love what I like about it is that I like the pomp and circumstance around the power of the government and the power of the head of state. I realize the king of Kreplakistan isn't going to be that important, or even the king of Denmark, who's a pilot. Like for Air Copenhagen, Air Denmark, or whatever the SAS, the airline is there. But anyway, I'm all up for it. But I really I like the parades. I've seen the Queen in person on her little parades. I was in London for her Platinum Jubilee. One of those things in 2012, and I was there for the Olympics both times. I saw the Queen. Just fun. It's just fun, pomp and circumstance. Like, ooh, rah, be a little touristy, be a little starstruck. Not only that, but Pedro, this may be the first time. I've got a long list of heads of state that have ridden in cars that I've built.
Yes.
And I'm trying to find out. In the royal family, famously doesn't ride in armored vehicles. It's not well protected. They're like, well, if you shoot me, there's another one coming up. No problem. We're man of the people. But behind the scenes, when moving things around, the security teams move people around securely when not in their little horse-drawn landaus. But I may be able to add King Charles to my list of heads of state that have ridden in my vehicles, which right now includes every president of the United States since George Bush the first. And I don't mean in vehicles that I've built. It means vehicles that I've had some connection with. Like either I've built the vehicle, I've serviced the vehicle, I've transported the vehicle, or something like that. And also Canadian heads of state. The same thing. A Canadian head of state has ridden in every vehicles that I've protected every Canadian head of state, including Mark Carney, who's riding in the Suburbans I built right now, all the way back to Jean Chrétien, who took office in 1993 or so. And I have not.
About get into it again.
I have not had a king. I've had the Saudis ride in my stuff and some other people, but the King of England or King of Canada. Crypto Mike, cool. He met the Queen when she was in Winnipeg for opening the building. She even talked to me. Now that is a rare thing. Cool. That's something cool. He had to bend down to hear her.
She's that soft spoken.
Well, Mike's tall, and the Queen was quite short.
Somebody was telling me she's very a lot of kings and queens are very soft spoken. Like they don't talk loud. Like their actual vocals aren't. They're not necessarily loud, and I've always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I would say that's true, because even on the interviews you see of them, they're like,
yeah,
or the Windsors, as they're known. Like Charles has those giant ears. They may not need to speak loudly with each other. They can speak loudly. We got big ears. We can hear that shit.
Yeah. Also, the reason why I always thought it was really weird. Also, women who are extremely attractive, who grew up with a good father, and I mean this, also have very soft voices as well. Huh. I always thought that was really interesting. Like I knew, like if a girl is a very attractive female and like would talk typically softly, and I'm not saying this is like 100% of the time, but I would know, like I knew they had a good dad. Like, or like a medium size, just a softer voice. I don't know why. I don't understand why that is, but I noticed that. It was a friend of mine who mentioned it, and I was like, And then so back in my younger days, when I would go to the club or be an idiot, I started noticing that. I was like, he's right. So that's another interesting thing. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up. Sometimes our randomness is so real. You talk about EDD, bro. Like shining light, what?
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Red light, what? So I did a cold shower this morning. I had to because my body. I worked out, and I'm trying to do this 100+ push-up challenge. And
what is that?
I know it sounds silly. So David Goggins he's one of the guys who I think he's last. Somebody just beat him, but he had the most pull-ups in the world, and he did it 5 at a time. And so he timed it out where I think he was like a 10-second wait, and then he would do 5 pull-ups, 10-second wait, 5 pull-ups, and boom, 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 right? And that's how he beat this world record. And so he tried 3 or 4 times, and so I've been thinking about that. I was like, you know what, I know specifically when I'm getting back in shape again, working out, building muscle and all that, and I know that it's really not about reps per se to build muscle, but muscle under tension. The longer you put muscle under tension, that's how you build muscle. And you don't need a lot of weight, you just need it under tension, and it rips it. And so I've been looking at really just doing 5 to 10 push-ups. So I'll walk for 30 seconds, 15, 30 seconds, and do 5 to 10 push-ups. And my goal is to get to the point where I'm doing 100 at a time, right? Just slowly, boom, boom, boom. But you start at 5. And so what I want to do is be able to get, and this is going to sound crazy, and I get it, right? But if I can do about 3,000 to 5,000 a day, okay, where I'm just like, boom, boom.
You're going to smell badly.
No, because you can get it done, honestly, in about an hour and a half, like just like a normal workout. But you've got to train your body for it. It's just something that doesn't happen. Right, like exactly.
5,000 push-ups just do not happen.
Like, yeah. And like I know people who do literally 1,000 push-ups. Like I remember I was talking to this guy at the gym.
It doesn't help them.
What? Oh yeah, well it helps your cardio as well as muscle fatigue, right? So you can actually endure a lot more, whatever, right? And it makes the heart healthier, makes the full body.
I can see if you're a Delta operator or something like that, and you're like, wow, we got to hump it across 40 miles with 200 pounds on our back. Like that's one thing. But if you're a crypto trader and you're building giant chest muscles doing this and biceps,
yes, it does. I apologize. So what it does is high intensity type of workouts like that actually help with the prefrontal cortex and also the fight-flight mechanism where you would normally go into under a stressful circumstance. But because you train your prefrontal cortex to chill out and not to activate the reptilian brain, then what happens is you're able to make better decisions and see clearly and see something in a meta view versus we are so ADD. That was just perfect. But that's why. So there's a book called The Art of Learning by Watkins. It's a guy who was a chess genius, and then he got bored with it when he became an adult and got into Tai Chi. Long story short, as he would watch kids and himself, he noticed that as he was going in his teen years and older, that when he would do a couple sprints, like hardcore sprints after a chess match or before a chess match, it would actually help him. And then he would just chill out, not do anything. And he would just whip on everybody. And now because of science, they found out, all the mechanisms why and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing this. So.
That was the long way of telling me, well, I do this so I don't have to take Adderall or something to get pumped up to trade. You do in the natural way.
yeah, and the healthy, right?
I'm up to 32 push-ups right now, with a cold start, without doing other workouts or getting the cardio up. Just every morning, get out of bed, break the stretches, and get it getting back up. And Mrs. Striking has been bugging me for a long time, and I used to do them a long time ago. Kind of, since I've known you, I've been on and off about them, but now I'm back on it, kind of full time here, because this old guy isn't getting any younger here, and right now nobody believes that I'm 56 years old. I want to be able to.
You don't look it.
I want to be able to get to age 70 and have people be like, "Yo, bro, what's happened with the younger generation?" And be like, "Dude, I'm a child of the 60s."
They'd be like, "What?"
People are like, that's like when I was younger, like saying to somebody like, "Oh, I was born in the 20s." People are like, "What? 20s?"
Yeah.
Like when they had to crank start their car and shit. I'll be like, "Yeah, I didn't even have email. We didn't have computers."
I remember when they said you need to get an email in college, and I was like, "What's an email? Why do I need an email? Just send the stuff to my home address. Why? What does this matter?" Like, because it's faster, and like you can print it off. And I was like, "Why do I need a printer? You just take 3 to 5 days, send it to my house." And now it's just like my tablet, man, like boom, you send it to my tablet, and I sit there, digital sign it, send it back, and I can create forgeries and stuff. Sorry. No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on the main screen here, I've got, for you Rumble people out there, if you could do us a favor, could you follow us? We are at 130 some followers. We need to get to 200. Actually, we need to get to 10 million, like some of the other streamers here, but We'll take 200. We're on our way to 200 next, so we got to ask you, please like and follow us on Rumble and on any platform you're watching. X people, I forgot to get the X comments up, but we're on X and YouTube as well today. Also, some other news. Pedro, we had a new episode of the Crypto Swamp Creatures out this morning.
That. I wanted to watch that.
Very good. And it had let me see if I can.
Yeah, let me show people how to actually do this. I'm gonna pull it up here real quick.
I'm gonna just bring up my screen while I talk about it. The Crypto Swamp Creatures are. Let me turn the pricing off. It's a podcast on the DYOR Media Network, and one that I edit and produce for Chris Alexander and Justin Wallin. Their latest episode, Polymarket, better. Let me get in the middle of the screen here so I can do this properly. It's probably going to turn the screen off. No, it didn't. Polymarket, better than pollsters. Justin here, this character over here on the left on your screen, Justin Wallin is a professional pollster. One of the guys that during the presidential election or any election says, well, 42% for this guy, 60% for this guy. And Justin was the only person that I know of that I can find that called the election in favor of Donald Trump well before all the famous guys from CNN and Fox and MSNBC and all that type of stuff. They were all calling it for Miss Harris way in advance, like, oh, she's going to kill him, all this type of stuff. And Justin's like, not so much. They didn't take into account the Hispanic vote. And I think the Hispanic vote will be, well, he said that most demographics are getting a little bit of a boost, but the Hispanics are moving to conservatives by a lot. And he was right. And he called it on this channel, on the DYOR Media Network. And Pedro, we don't get any play for that.
We do not. Really?
We don't, but we need to keep talking about it. He called it on this channel, not on our show, but he put out his show, The Crypto Swamp Creatures. And so they do some great episodes. Polymarket, better than pollsters, and Polymarket predicted Trump was going to win long before any of the pollsters or anyone else. The other shows here we got out recently, there's two stablecoin acts out in the U.S. Congress right now, the Stable Act and the Genius Act. They go through them at length. Not at length, it's a short podcast, but they go through them on why it's important to you and which one is likely to benefit you versus just benefit big companies. And then, of course, Bo Hines getting it done. This is a great, if you want to know a little bit about the people that advise President Trump, Bo Hines is one of them. That he's the chairman of the Digital Advocacy Council or something like that. And he's getting it done, and he's helping advise the president on what to do. Not to be confused with the cryptos are. But anyway, if you see this thing in your feed here, since you're watching our show, you might get this in your feed. Please watch it. It's 10 minutes of your life. Please like, subscribe, and enjoy the Crypto Swamp Creatures. And Pedro, tomorrow, because the king is going to be transiting in his little stuff right about the second half of our show.
We're going to close up early?
No, I'm going to have Chris come in and co-host with us tomorrow. And then when I run out, I mean, literally, the king's going to be just going by my apartment out here, so I can run out, go see it, and come back. And we'll do some on-the-spot reporting for the monarchy. Sir, do you speak? Do you like crypto? Do you like Bitcoin? Is the monarchy buying Bitcoin?
He's going to say no. There's no way they can. That is their whole entire.
Sir, we do not do Bitcoin. We do hump gold. We've always done gold, and I make these swords out, so off with your head.
No, not gold. Silver. Silver. The sterling silver. I mean, the whole entire thing.
True, but I mean, all the jewels that they have, the swords and the muckety-muck stuff is all gold and stuff. You're right, their whole currency is silver. Pound sterling.
The pound sterling.
Anyway, so pay attention to the Crypto Swamp Creatures. Chris Alexander will be on the show tomorrow to talk about their shows, and to help Pedro out while I'm out muckety-mucketing with the humpity humps and chuffity nuts, guys.
Chuffity nuts, then these guys. That is like humpity humps, dude. That's got to become a t-shirt, or not a t-shirt, a t-shirt. That's got to be. Yo, we need to get the merch store up. Because we can make some money, like that's legit or rad, and have my face being like,
whoop whoop,
whoop whoop.
Vote for Pedro.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it's actually correct. Crypto. All right, I want to show everybody what to do. If you guys really want to help us out and kind of get things up and running, I'm going to show you guys real quick kind of what you can do here. So I'm going to populate this because this does help us out immensely. To you guys over there on Rumble, forgive us, but I want to make sure you guys understand, because me and Tom are trying to really build something here. We want to build a community, really, and I want to build and connect with people. And we've talked about this for about 2 years now, but we're really becoming serious about this. And so part of this just does help. So if you guys could do us a quick favor and do this, and we're going to go right back right after this into everything that what we were just talking about. So here's the crypto swamp creatures here. You can see. So I'm actually going to click on the website here, and then what you can do is go to their latest video.
Wait, hey Pedro.
Wait, why is it only at 3? Why?
Because that's their old channel before they hired us to do
you're
their
right.
stuff.
I forgot. Yeah, you're right.
You got to go to DYOR Media.
Yeah, DYOR Media. There we go. Forgive me. Yeah, I was looking at going, wait. So boom, we go right there. And then you can see here, click here.
They do have a playlist. You can go to playlists.
Playlist. And you can see Crypto Swamp Creatures. So we're going to click on that. Boom. And then from there,
well, you click the play all button instead of the
instead
of the listing of them. Like,
yeah, here we go, right here, right? Short.
No. It's right there. It's you just gotta click the 27 episodes, not the play all button. Oh, yeah, that's not right either.
Yeah. So here this is still just going to give us, and this, like I said, this just helps us out. So click on the.
I'm sorry. Below it says View Full Podcast. It says Play All, then Crypto Swamp Creature Season 1 updated today. View Full Podcast.
There you go. And so we can go down here to the latest one, Poly Market versus Polyester. We should probably reverse this so that everybody can see the current, most recent review of this.
I do, and YouTube likes to change them all the time.
Okay, so then what we do then is you go through, you share this. I'm going to share this here real quick to my X. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's see if we can do X. So we'll do X here. Boom, copy.
Just click the X button. There you go.
I'm going to say these guys rock the mic. You all know my stuff here. These guys rock the mic. Let's go, my peoples. All right. I'm surprised I didn't do that. Let's go. All right. So I hit that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come here and I'm going to open a new private window. And so I'm going to come right here, go into my system, and I am going to go there. I am going to copy this, copy link. Then I'm going to open a new private window. I'm going to place that link here, click it like it's hot. Boom, hit the like, and then, it's not like, but I can go there, click on it, and that right there, all of a sudden tells the algorithm this is absolutely click through by actually going in there. And you said I don't even necessarily need to listen to it.
Just sharing is what helps.
Yeah, it
helps that algorithm.
Yeah, that's the key. And so, and I bring this up because this helps out us as well as the Crypto Swamp Creatures. And the quality that you get from those guys is a lot higher than what you get from us. So I would say help those guys out. But we're gonna go right into here now. Let's check out some news that I thought was really interesting. Did you check out what just happened with Dubai or with the the Dubai leaders about the real estate tokenization platform with Ledger?
No.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked because their system, right? Because it's all crude oil. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of money there. Like, their land is especially it's some of the plush perfect expensive land in the world. It might be all dirt, but it's what underneath that dirt is what matters.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so go check them out. It's actually really impressive, but they just came out with this new thing. Basically, Dubai launches a real estate tokenization platform on XRP Ledger, which is I think is going to be a big deal. Also, there was something that populated, I think when I missed it, I read through it and my subconscious mind kept bringing it up to my prefrontal cortex, like, hey, you need to go research this to see what's going on. And so a lot of banks are trying to create, and I think you talked about it also on the show here last week, where the market, and I thought this was really interesting, when it comes to the banks, are creating a stablecoin that is literally, they're trying to create a stablecoin among the banks to help out with the inoperability issue. And so by bringing that together, they'll be able to transact business and do a bunch of stuff. And we're talking to the largest banks in the world, like JP Morgan, Bank of America,
right,
Goldman Sachs, everybody and their mother who's like our bosses, because of what's going on with Trump and everything that they're trying to do. They need to do, instead of paying somebody else like not like Tether or Circle, but they can create their own and be able to do things between each other. And they're saying they're doing it, but I think they already have it done. And the only thing the thing that I'm a little bit nervous about this is it is substantially different than CBDCs. Okay, the fact is that it is not a centralized Federal Reserve coin in which that can basically tell you can or can buy, you can't or can buy something, and they can shut that off based off of how they view your spending habits. It is different than that, okay? But the bad part behind it, though, is that it could, because of the centralization of a lot of these banks, and again, we don't know what it is, what it's really going to be entailed for, but I think what's important to pay attention to is that when I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the nuances of it, they could if they wanted to, if they decided to set up certain. Now again, it is a privately owned coin. It is not a governmental coin.
Which coin are you talking about?
These aren't coins as in say, these are stable coins. These are stable coins that they are creating.
Oh, bank-owned stable coins.
Yeah, bank-owned stable coins. But on the back end, I'm very much watching this, and we're watching XRP also help with this. And I know a guy who's personally kind of involved in a lot of this stuff, Larry. And me and Larry have gone head to head multiple times regarding some of this stuff. But ultimately, I'm still a little bit hesitant because I like individual companies, and I know this sounds crazy, but being able to create their own match of the USD if they have the money to be able to do that. And it does allow it can allow foreign entities to take advantage of the US dollar in regards to crypto. And the reason why I bring this up is because, do you remember how on Friday we were talking about stable coins and how you can take advantage of the nuances, the sell-offs of them, right?
Yep.
You can come in, you can buy it and sell it. And so those are one of the things that I like, that you can do that. But also other major foreign currencies, other major governments can also do that as well. So it's something that we need to pay attention to and make sure that we're a government. I mean, if you just look at DAI, and I think this is Coinbase. I think this is Coinbase stablecoin. I forget exactly which one it is. It's a major.
No, it's the DAO. With the biggest DAO in the world, MakerDAO.
MakerDAO. Yeah, that's what it is. MakerDAO. Yeah. And so you can see here that their stablecoin here does fluctuate quite a bit on a daily basis. I mean, and I was looking at this. We're talking that's 5% on a daily basis. Not a daily, but it can fluctuate based off of buying and selling. So this area here is something that we could see a lot of governments.
It goes down all the way to 95 cents every day?
No, not every day. It typically fluctuates like on a nuanced base of like 0.005. You can see here that this is the average, but I'm looking at when it really starts to break apart. So look at on a daily basis. This, I would say right here, right on a daily basis, you could pretty much play this range right here. I'm gonna make this purple. Boom. And the yellow line is $1 exactly. You see pretty much on it, either it fluctuates between here and or here. So there are days where it just stays within, 0.05, but you can see it's 0.003 to about about 2 cents off. You can see that the majority of the time, this is the range in which it stays on kind of a daily basis, goes up. And there are days with at least once or twice a week, you can see where it gets all the way down to 3 cents off, which is 3%. And then down in these levels here, you can see here that you do have some big fluctuations. And I mean, just this year alone, since 2024, I mean, look at this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times so far this year that it's fluctuated. Excuse me, within a year, not this year, but within a year since 2024 to 2025, you can see that you've had some major, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times that you saw this thing come down to that 95 cents area, which is basically a fluctuation throughout the year of a potential 50% growth and you're not going to be able to do this with hundreds of billions of dollars because you'll move the market.
Right.
But if you've got a decent amount,
or if you trade it and you just put some limit orders down there.
Yep.
Just to set, put a limit order for, good till cancel at, at a 4% discount. Anyway, DAI's got a $3.7 billion market cap right now. It's pretty good for them. And even though they're, you don't know, it says $50 million traded. It doesn't, I don't know how that number takes into account things that are paired with it. I don't know that number, how it works. I can't speak educationally about it.
Educationally.
In an educated manner. But it's still a big thing, a big deal, that stable coin. But Pedro, I still think that I was reading one article yesterday about bank stable coins, and they said, all these banks want to announce it because they want everyone to give them Tether type money. But most of these banks, when they talk about getting a stable coin and moving to and having it their own blockchain for it and all that, really what they're doing is just getting rid of their legacy systems that are it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to manage and
just
reprogram.
Transfer.
And going with even though they're stable, they can make stable coin chains that it's a private permissioned chain, and only allow the bank's customers and all these other people to use it. It can even be in a public format, but in order to get the ability to hold a wallet on the chain, you need to be approved by the bank. So it's really just a way to get things going for them in a better and less expensive way. But every time this comes up, I remind people, if you remember it doesn't matter what country you're in, pick a time before you had a central currency, and like in the U.S. before we had a central currency, and even after we did in the Wests and territories, banks issued their own notes. And suddenly each bank had its own notes, and there was exchange trades going between banks. Banks would fail, everyone would lose their money because it wasn't exchangeable fully between other banks. There's no insurance, blah, blah, blah. Other countries, warlords had their own currencies. That way back in the day, China had like 72 different currencies because they had all these warlord zones and stuff. And the very sophisticated ones established trade routes with the other ones and exchange, so you could exchange money from one to the other. But mostly you got ripped off in exchange rates by the traders themselves, who took the massive amounts of risks to do it. And that's ultimately going to happen. I mean, imagine if the U.S. Constitution was made and said, we're going to have 73 different currencies, And, it's kind of up the Wild West for everyone to do it. It would be a disaster. And really, you only need 3 or 4 stable coins. Really? Do you need 512? No.
Well, while this is happening, though, I see a way to literally to expedite wealth into your pocket by playing some limit coins, placing some limit buys and limit sells. So look, you can see here how often we see it get to 101, especially right here. You can see here so far this year, you've seen it get up to 104 quite often. You can see this area here, 103 area. So we're talking, you could play that as long as you want to make sure that you can play this without a huge fee, right? If you get in and get out with a small fee of maybe 1%, you take the VIG, you take the spread, and all of a sudden now you're able to really kind of pick up some trades, some easy trades, right? So you buy at a low point of this 99-cent area, potentially that 95-cent area here, right? And then that 95-cent, that's 5%, that you just received. And then it can get up to 103, which is another 3%, which is 8%. And you just say, every time it hits this level, I want to buy in. Let's say, again, this is something I'm looking to do. It's not financial advice. This is only educational, entertainment purposes only here. Okay. But these are little things that you can play with and kind of take advantage of it, right? And there are multiple stable coins here. There's USDC. We talked about USDC playing the same situation, right? With USDC, find a local low, which would be like right here. You can see how often it gets down to that 99.91 cent, which is just a micro cent. But, or you can see at times where you do see a sell off between 99 or even that 90, 99.1. So USDC holds it pretty strong, but there are other times when you can see during a crypto event, meaning if there is some black swan situation that happens with an organization, we typically see a sell-off of people trying to get out of their coins, or they're trying to get out of Bitcoin for a time, wait for the sell-off, and then jump back in. So this is where you do see the fluctuations within these stable coins, people buying, people selling. USDD, this is Tron's coin, and I back here in 2000 and what was it, 2023, 2022, I sat there. I knew somebody who knew Justin's son personally, and I said, look, they're shorting him. They're trying to destroy his kingdom here. And I said, he needs to take care of this right here. And I saw this fluctuating right here, and I sat there and I said, look, I would quickly short this here just to see what happens. So he needs to be careful there, because they were pushing this coin down. And I thought that this is around the Terra Luna situation that was happening, and I thought they were trying to do it with Tron. And so I was like, dude, you tell him he needs to handle this.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm confused. Which product are you talking about right now?
This is USDD.
I don't know USDD.
Yeah, it is Justin. I believe it's Justin's son's Tron stablecoin, or is it? Yeah, and then you have, or is it USD? No, yeah, USD. USDD is Justin's son's. You have USDD, USDD US. So USDD USD. USDD, where are you at, bud?
What's interesting is I can't call that. I can't call the pricing and market cap on that. Just this error, invalid. Even though
I'm looking at right now.
It's the right one. Very interesting.
So I have USDT, USD, and I have it on Kraken.
Welcome to everyone watching us on Rumble. Appreciate it. And on X as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so these are like on this one, on this pair here, you can sit there and see the USDT versus, or this is USDD here. And again, these are things that you can play. These are right now, as this stuff is happening, you can take advantage of these nuanced plays by understanding the way crypto works, right? And I think having something like this, as well as the central or the bank stable coins, is important because, again, one of the biggest issues that we're seeing around the world is that America needs to keep continuing. We need people to buy U.S. treasuries and U.S. bonds. And so the more we see stable coins kick in, get going, they have to back it with things, whether that's gold, which they will, silver, which they will, and U.S. treasury bonds, which are backed by the back of who? The treasury or the taxpayers. And Americans are working fools. So that's what I want to sit there and say, so you understand what's actually happening here. And so, and every time there is some type of crypto scare, crypto situation, typically you have fluctuation within the economy, whether people are trying to get in or the crypto economy trying to get in or get out. That allows you to be able to play on both of those ends of just putting limit orders in, and like for myself, putting limit orders in at like that 95 cent area, or and a sell mark at 103, 105 area for myself. And that, that's a quick little, nice little play, and then wait for it to get back to, sell off to 105, 110, and just have a separate wallet that just does that. Like boom, like separate wallet, you have it going, and you put in, let's say, $10
million.
And before you know, at the end of the year, it might be 1,500. And that extra, and that might grow, up to a certain point, and then you start to move the market. But as long as it has, like you said, a 3 billion, 5 billion mark, popping in $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 ain't gonna do much, particularly because there's so much fluctuation of a daily volume coming in of $4 or $5 million. You know what I'm saying?
Know what I'm saying, Vern?
Not 4 or 5 million. I mean, like a minute of like, what is the daily volume traded on, let's say, DAI or USDC?
DAI was it was only at 50 million for it. Let's see if we can get USDC's volume. USDC's volume.
I can't wait till you can really start trading options on the
All right, my API is suddenly not working. I don't know why. Invalid. There's something going. I need to reload the spreadsheet, so I can't actually tell you. Actually, I can just go to CoinGecko here.
I was just going to go to
USDC's market cap. I know their market cap is like 60 billion or something like
24
that.
volume. But what I want to see is the 24-hour volume is really what I'm looking at.
6,600 million.
Yeah, there you go. So you can see here that those daily volume markets, like here you go, USDC, you have 10 billion, or excuse me, 10 billion on USDC, on USDD. Let me type in USDD here real quick. USDD. Typically the daily volume here, average, it was about 11 mil on USDD, which isn't bad at all. So like I said, 1% of that, $100,000 just being buying and selling on something like that as it fluctuates isn't bad. You just got to make sure that the fees aren't going to kill you, and just calculate smartly. That's what I am looking, or maybe might be doing. I don't know, but that's just something for people to play with in case you want. Again, this is not financial advice. This is social and entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice.
No, ma'am.
I'm not telling you to take a trade or anything like that, but you potentially could take trades off of that. Just saying, just putting that out there. Alrighty then, there you go. And then if you're really if somebody wants to get really having fun, you could trade different coins off each other. So let's say USDT to USDC and see fluctuations there. And then if you understand options and the way options work, that can even get funner. And I know funner is not a word. I knew that was coming.
It's funner.
It's funner. Hey. And remember, many of the exchanges also have their own coins. So they'll give you favorable fees on you buying their stable coins. I'm just putting that out there. I mean, what am I talking? I'm just rambling here. You know how. So, okay, so that's it for all I need to say for that. That's all I need to say about that. Yeah. Okay then. So what would you like to do next, Thomas?
Pedro, I was just while you were talking, I was entering the journal for that trade that I was complaining about earlier, and I was like, I lost. Well, they updated my P&L after taking into account the fee deal we get, and so I actually was a plus $9.20, so that my
still, they give you a 50%, almost 60% haircut, dog. It's still,
the fill wasn't great. No, I'm not getting it. I mean, I give you that. The fill was not great, but the fees were reduced dramatically. So I ended up with another win, and that's what, as you drilled into my head yesterday when I mentioned money. You're like, stop talking about the money, talk about the trades that you win, and the money will follow. And so I've been focusing on winning trades.
And understanding why.
And why I won the trade, right?
Why you won the trade. And then here's the thing. You could actually even be wrong. But because you put your brain on this idea of winning, then what happens is, you let's say 6 months down the road, you're like, oh, I didn't win because of that. I won because of this. But what it does is, first of all, it keeps you in the game, right? So you can keep playing, and so you keep that learning. But also, what happens is, it will also help you to realize where the real deeper meaning is. And as my trading coach tells me, shout out to Chris Koopman, Easy Money 2050 over on Twitter or X. But as he always says to me, you got to get to the deeper meaning of what is actually happening. And the only way you can keep doing it is staying in the market. And by you winning, then it allows you to be able to then keep going and realize, oh, I was wrong here. My hypothesis of back here was actually, it was leading me to, this was the symptom of this right here. And then as that is relaying to you, you're able to sit there and say, oh, okay. And what it is just gradually goes right there and boom, and then you get to that next level and that next level. And that's what's important. That's actually what's really, really important.
Pedro, a good example of winning.
We gotta get a new word, because every time I say that, winning,
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen and that horrible, was it 2006?
And not only that, but winning sounds like you're gambling. And
yeah,
when you're on meme coins, that's gambling. But when you're doing this, it's not. Anyway, I was in this trade here. If you could see this bull flag that's going here that I just outlined here, and I looked at this bull flag here, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to do this. This is why I didn't see any negative divergences. I looked through my periods; it all looks good. And then, of course, immediately went against me. I went boo, like that. And what I learned from that is what I'm just learning about is whether the flag is in the which side of the Fibonacci that you've drawn it's on, and whether it's in a discount or premium, but whatever. It was just, I didn't look at all the things that I should have to think it was going to be profitable or not. And so the tried.
You didn't go through the process.
Well, there was things I didn't know. I see. Yeah. I did. I was like, I didn't know that. But anyway, so what I have learned is that, I'd say, all right, well, I'm going to try and mitigate my trade. And in the past, I'd just DCA randomly. Like, this looks like a good place to add some more money to it. And then in my demo account would just go like this, because then it would go down, and then you'd add DCA, and then it would liquidate you, and you'd be done. And I would be like, those are all trades that I learned in the past that were bad ideas. But this time I said, all right, how do people do this? And they said, well, I'm not going to draw it now because I'm really bad at doing this, but we'll draw it, trying to figure out the best place to draw Fibonacci on it and find the levels that it's going to come down to. Because in these very liquid markets like Bitcoin, these things tend to work. I didn't have a lot of money in the first place. I wasn't, even if I got liquidated, it's like big deal. I lost my $25. But I added a little bit more. On this spot, it was like the 618. This spot was the 786. And this spot was almost to the 1. Or whatever next is after 786. And then it started to turn around. And then this little boop right here. And my profit, I sold just over break even, but I made a few bucks. Instead of my entry price being up here, my entry price was down here. Because it came down, and I ended up mitigating my trade. And I won that not because I predicted the market well, but because I covered my ass well. And apparently that's also an equal skill that I'm just learning. You're on mute.
It is. I would agree, but here's the thing. I would rather you to understand that the market's always most likely going to retrace.
Right.
So if you missed the trade or you were wrong, get stopped out. It's okay to get stopped out. Wait for the retracement. Understand it.
Bitcoin always retraces. Most markets, they always retrace.
Yeah. But most importantly here, by you dollar cost average, and I personally do not like doing that. My trading style is not like that. I'll let myself get stopped out. I am not a guy who buys in on a losing trade because there's always a black swan event that can liquidate you completely. Boop. Yeah, completely. And all of a sudden now you spent and I know this personally, you spent 6 months to a year building an account up from 5,000 to almost 300 or 400,000. Then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah, that's not the risk I had in that. That's for sure.
It doesn't matter because remember, you can go negative on futures. So
right.
if that thing shoots off and all of a sudden Bitcoin goes from 110 all the way to 1,000, or not 1,000, excuse me, 100 and 1,000, you just lost 10%. But because you're leveraged, it's a huge drop. So I would say the real skill set as you're developing and learning is that you want to sit there and say, okay, the market could go down to here. And as you develop that skill set of understanding where the retracement can come back down to, then all of a sudden you realize your real skill set is two things: knowing when a market is trending and going to continue trending, versus when a market is starting the trend and it needs orders, so it's got to come back down to that area where there's probably orders.
Right.
And that's where I always tell everybody, that's why you scan all of your time frames. That's why you have multiple time frames. As my trading coach says, don't become so myopic that you myopic, right? Means small.
Right. Myopic, focusing on one.
Myopic. Yeah, I was going to say I messed it up. Myopic. I knew my brain was. I was like myopic, where you cannot see the full play, what's actually happening. I remember, what was this? Probably like 12 years ago? No. 2012? 2011, I got into the market. I was trading, And sure enough, it went against me. And I got out of the trade. I remember, because I was saddened. I was saddened by this situation, and I didn't understand the platform. Got in. It was the same like rookie mistake. So it put me in. And the worst part behind it was I started buying as it was selling off, thinking it's going to come back up. It's going to come up. And it was that was the start of the 2011 sell-off.
2011?
Yeah, there was. If you go back and look at the S&P 500, there was a couple of weeks where you had some sell-offs, and you know what I'm saying? And I destroyed my account. And every trader does that, and I just don't want to see that with other people. So that's why it's like one of those things that I'm like, you know,
well, it's safe to say in doing that, I'm not taking unlimited risk. I still had a stop order in. It wasn't like this thing was going to go. For me, futures without a stop order is like driving without a seatbelt on a spaceship. It's like,
here it is, right here. That right here, dude. Freaking I remember this. It was this day. Boom.
And now that movement is like an hour's worth of trading, 10 minutes.
Yeah, now like what is this? Wait. So this is 1300 to 13. What was I missed that again? What was it 1343? 40, so 40, 50, so 50 points. Wow, 50 points.
And you remember it as if it was a total disaster for you.
Yeah, it was.
50
it
points.
Destroyed my account. Yeah, 50 points from here to here. And this day, this sell-off, I kept waiting for it to pull back, and I kept putting money in. And so it was one contract, then two contracts, then three contracts. Before you know, it was just like 4 contracts. I'm thinking, okay, the next day it'll come back up, and another sell-off. And then finally, after like the end of the day, when it closed here, I just got out. I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't. Right. Then the next day, sold off, came back up, and then you saw the sell-off here again to the 24. That was 50 points. 40, and the low there was 40. So that's 60. That's 100 points. Now let's look at today's average true range. Today's average true range, I think it's 80 points, 90 points. That's just crazy. Like today's point, which, as you can see, it's kind of a smaller range candle here. And so let's see this here real quick. $82. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. 820. 820, 880. So what is that? 70 points. Freaking 70 points, dog. 70 points. That is just nuts to me. Like, to think like, yeah, it moved 70 points, and that was like 2 or 3 days worth of movement back in 2011. I was actually talking to a trader friend of mine, and I go, you know, as the market keeps going up and up and up, these ranges won't stop. Like, these ranges will always be about 1 to 2% of its market move. And so 1 to 2% is 100, like at 5,000 or 6,000, that is 60. That is 60 to 120 points in a day of the S&P 500 futures. That is huge. You don't understand. Like, those guys, dude, those guys who learned trading back here in 2009, I mean, oh, I think they said that the average daily was like 10 points during this period. 10 points, man. Like, that is nuts. I mean, the market hiccups sometimes. And during a few weeks ago, the market was moving literally 200 points. 200, 250, 300 points in a day. Like, you could literally just be like, wait for a retreat.
Meh.
Yeah, look at that, like 117, which is a big day, 117 to 151. So that would be about 50, 40, 30 points for that one. That's a big day. But you can see these average days right here. Boom. 91. That's 30 points, 40 points. Here we go. This is when they were talking about this. This is right here. 90. Yeah, right there. 23, 40. So was that 20? That's crazy. 20 points. This one right here, this day. What is this day? 35. 19 to 4 points this day. It moved 4 points this day. This was a Friday. Typically Friday, you see sell-offs. Look right here. These, the average, I couldn't. I wonder. Like, actually, I was trading this time period. What am I talking about? I was looking at the market, like, and you would. I remember somebody telling me just get 3 points out of the market. Michelle Von Meer was. She was trading, and I remember she just simply said, you get 3 points out of the day, you're doing good, you could become a millionaire. Now, dude, 3 points is like a hiccup. Like, you're looking for 10, like 12 points in a move. Like, I'm sorry, that's just nuts. That's crazy. And once it's at, if it's at 10,000, then it should within the next 10 years. Within the next 10 years, we should see the S&P 500 at about $10,000 to $12,000. That's this right here. And the average, dude, it should do 100 to 200 points a day. That is just like, it'll fluctuate between like 120 to 130, 130 a day. And it should be that. We should see it at that level over the next 7 to 10 years. S&P 500 of 12,000, 10 to 12,000.
Go long. Go long.
And the thing is I always say just learn how to trade. And once you get, and here's the thing, like if it takes you 15 to 20 years, like it did me, to trade, to learn how to trade, it's still worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like now, all of a sudden, every day you can go in and get a piece of the market. And it's just because the market movement is going to be more. I mean, the people, and I also want to add this on, because you have the ability to add on more contracts as you get better, right? Like that's why I always say to Tom, and I say to you guys, trading is like, don't worry, learn how to trade, learn how to box. Don't just try to knock somebody out, right? It's the skill set and that you learn that teaches you how to always feed yourself. You know, and you can see as we keep going, and you're like, Pedro, why does it matter that like you're so excited about it reaching to 10,000? The reason why that's a big deal, and I want to make sure you add on, is because what makes it difficult to make money in trading is the fact that it doesn't move. So if a market only moves, let's say 5 points or 10 points in a day, you can only squeak out a certain amount of money, because half the time it consolidates and then it moves and it consolidates and then it moves again and it consolidates. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to capture that small movement. But if that movement is 10 points, that means that the most you're going to get is 7 points, because you never get the bottom, you never get the top. You maybe get 70 to 60% of the move in a move, because you need to confirm that it's continuing, right? And then you need to confirm, oh wait, it's selling off, I need to get out. So if you have 10 points, that's 7 points, but you're still making $50, $20 a point. So all of a sudden you walk out, let's say it's $10 a point, and it moves 10 points, well, you just made $100, right? Or you made 70 or 60 bucks off of one contract or one position. Increment, if it increase in increment, it moves from 10 points to 100 points. I just made 10x just by the nature of the actual instrument. So it's like the difference between riding on an ant and riding on a giant. Whatever shoulder you're on determines how far you're going to go. I made that so complicated, and I was trying to make that easy. Why do
That's
I
your way.
do that?
That's your way there, Pedro.
Doc, I really tried to say, this is going to be simple for them, and then I make it difficult for you guys. I'm sorry, guys. Tell me, like you guys over at Rumble, if I'm confusing you guys, just say, "Dog, you're confusing me. Shut the hell up." And I'd be like, "My bad."
I know we need you guys to do that, because when I do that, Pedro's like, "No, they need to learn this. They need to learn this. They need to. Dude, bro, they need to learn this." And I'm like, "Yes, they do need to learn this, but they long ago got lost in cross-eyed."
Oh man!
Why does it feel like Friday, Pedro? Feels like Friday for some reason.
Because we had a long weekend. That's why. Had a good long weekend. We've been grinding.
We grind in Bitcoin. As we grind in, Bitcoin is doing kind of what we thought it was going to do, roll over earlier, and it's dumping a little bit. I happen to be short right now.
Nice.
I thought to myself, so what did I wait for? I think I.
Well, you know why it dropped, right? Because liquidity was added to the market by who, you may ask?
The Fed? Chinese?
No.
Japanese?
No. Who's the guy that they always dump on?
Sailor?
There you go. I feel so bad. So he came in, he bought. I just saw the news source here, and I was just like, dang, dude, they're always gonna dunk on you. Justin and Michael Saylor strategies. Excuse me, Michael Saylor's strategy buys 4,200 Bitcoin worth 427 million, and they just dunk on him, dude. It was this morning.
I still, the marginal more money he gets for each of these shenanigans, or schemes, not shenanigans, schemes that he pulls, I just can't see how it's justified. I mean, he's already got $8 or $66 bazillion worth, right?
Yeah.
And what big deal if you have 68 bazillion? Even if it doubles, even if it goes up by 10, you have $660 billion. But if you keep doing this, you could have $680 billion. What's the difference between 660 billion and 680 billion? You think, and not much, and 20 billion at levels not much. But right now, it's a lot of risk for his company.
Yeah.
He's adding on to the risk. And unless he knows something we don't, because his shareholders don't know, they're suing him because he's not. Pedro, I don't understand it. Their strategy, their shareholders are suing him, saying, you didn't disclose how much this and this costs. They're all making a goddamn fortune. They're up tons of money. And they're like, whoa.
Well, here's the thing. So that is actual. So that is common. Like anytime that type of happens, because he's dealing with TradFi. And remember, the whole entire thing in TradFi is to keep the market stable. And so he pulled in all these traditional finance guys who are used to 5, 10, 15, maybe 20% a year on average, right? And he's sitting there. Actually, they're used to they're used to based off of what is actually happening in inflation. What they try to stay ahead of inflation. That's the entire point. Stay ahead of inflation. If they can stay ahead of inflation, then they can stay rich. Okay.
Right.
So they just want to make sure that they're making 3 to 5% annually a year, and maybe at the most that they lose is maybe 2%. Okay, 1%. But the next year they squeak out an extra percent, so they stay rich, right? And this is what happens. Michael Saylor is looking at the market at sitting out a Bitcoin of 1.2 million a Bitcoin, which I know, or I don't know, nobody knows, but I feel it's going to go there. I believe we'll actually see it get to 3 million. And I've gone over this a couple times here, right? Where I said, this is what I expect Bitcoin to do. And we've laid out this whole entire area, you know, like by the year 2037, 2036, I expect to see a 3 million or $3,600,000 Bitcoin per Bitcoin.
Right.
So, and I've talked about this, you know, look at the market at a 20-30 year period. And this is how the institutions see it. So anywhere between 10,000 or even, I mean, $1 Bitcoin to 100,000 Bitcoin is nothing but profit for them, because they're thinking 20-30 years out, potentially, when this juggernaut is so far, because some law was potentially passed on Friday. It's got to go through the Senate, but if that law gets enacted, it's adding another $3 trillion into the market or the $3 trillion onto the debt of the U.S. economy. And if our economy keeps doing what it's doing, then we're going to be okay. But if it doesn't, and we don't stay ahead of AI and robotics, and we're not the primary producers of that, America's going down. Now, what's beautiful is that we're seeing Europe again shoot themselves in the foot in regards to this. America, and this idea behind it is real simple. Like, America's got to stay ahead to feed our debt. Our GDP has to increase. Elon Musk and a lot of those robot guys have to be ahead. We have to hit AGI before everybody else does, so that we can stay ahead and pay off our debt.
Speaking of this Friday at 8:30, the GDP for Canada is being released, and it's the first major announcement under the new government. And so we'll get a hint of how the government releases the numbers and the wording around it. It should be interesting. Because the GDP is not like the interest rates. It doesn't come out of the independent, like in the U.S. comes out of the Fed, that type of stuff. These numbers come out of the government, and the government's new, and there's now a banker in charge of the country. So we'll see if he has the usual BS, or if something important, or if there'll be a change, I should say, and people get comfortable with the numbers. It'll be very interesting.
Bro, there's no way. Like, he's going. You have a banker controlling things, man. I should call them just a better talking politician.
Right. It's still going to be a disaster.
Like, dude, it's, you know, it was a dumpster. It was a dumpster fire going on. Now it's just shit added onto the dumpster fire, man. Like, you know, actually, I'll put it like this. It was a shit sandwich that was what it was before, and then all they did was just add on a dump on top of it. Like I was talking with a few guys from Canada. I said, half your guys' politicians are bought by China.
Oh, like, that probably didn't go over well with those guys.
Oh, they were pissing me. Like, I said, bro, Trudeau makes it very clear. Like, he receives money from these guys. It's an open thing. You can go and research this. It's right. Not his foundation. It's is not literally a conspiracy
theory. It's actually
not true. A conspiracy. It is real. It's true. And they didn't even. And they're from Canada. They're from Canada. And I said, listen, pull up your. I said, you have a what do you call that? A Siri. You have a Gemini person you can talk to. You have Grok. You can talk to these things. There she is. No. Go to bed. Just chill out. Siri, go to bed. Siri popped up. But it was interesting that you can just, all this stuff is readily available. Like the idea behind the TSA. Did you hear about this TSA? When you sign, because you want to get in front of everybody, you have to sign a waiver so they can do a background check. They can hold on to it for freaking 5 years. and background check you any period in time. 5 years.
Right. So so just so you can cut the line to be in front, a shorter security line. Right.
Yep. But it's super invasive. They can do background checks on you. They can do anything, like not anything, but they can do a lot of things. They can check your bank account, do certain things on that. They can, like, everything, like anything that could potentially make you a terrorist. They can go through and check it out. And you're like, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, until they create a new law.
Right.
That, hey, you peed left when you should have peed right. Or you're no longer allowed to squat. You got to do it standing up. And all of a sudden, it's like, now it's in the law, and now they can go back and check your stuff. And so it's just, I sat there and I was like, I can't believe this is crazy. This is actually happening. And I grokked it. Somebody grokked it on X. And then somebody else grokked it, and then I grokked it, because we're all sitting there going like, okay, I'm only thinking something. Somebody else thinks what I was thinking, and then adds on. I was like, ooh, that's good. And then they brought up another idea, which then brought up another idea here. So I say this because it's really important to understand, if you're not paying attention to what is actually happening in the world and what's actually happening in your government and who's funneling and funding these people, then you're really going to get hurt. Like, I'm not pro-Trump. Nor am I pro-Biden. I'm pro-freedom. I'm pro-us making sure that we stay ahead. America, do that. That throws me off every time, bro. Us being able to sit there and sing "My Country 'Tis of Thee," right? And regardless of like, I'm Mexican, bro. The American people stole and ran over almost 200 years ago. Freaking California, Texas, Arizona.
You Mexicans can't
Utah.
get over that. We wanted the fair and square way. We wanted it.
Stole it fair and square.
We had a bigger military that wasn't as tired as the Mexican army from fighting all those wars, and we took it the old-fashioned way. We shot all you motherfuckers, and then you said, "All right, you're gonna have that shit." And they'll be like, "No,
you know what? You colonial white Irish MFers here.
We paid you for that shit too, just like we paid France for the stuff they stole from the Indians. We got that shit fair and square. We killed a whole bunch of people, and then we gave you money. So, fuck off with those claims.
you guys are sitting there trying to take it. But anyways, jumping back to what I was saying though, is whether you stole it fair and square or not, I'm an American now, and I want to see America doing good. And the fact is that we have freedom of speech. We have freedom to bear arms. Mexicans down in Mexico can't bear arms. You can't have a gun down there.
You have to be a criminal to do it down there.
Yeah, you literally do, right? Like running around shooting people with, like, it's just that doesn't happen down in Mexico. Only the cartel can. Go figure. Anyways, I say this because in America, you can defend yourself. You can sit there. Whether your family and your lineage was brought over on a boat, or whether you were here and they took it. We are where we're at today. You can sit there and try to take down this beautiful nation that really does try to make things open and free for people, or you can sit there and complain. I'd rather be on the other and sit there and say, well, good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you had come to a stop there.
I am about to come down to a stop, and this is the point. Listen, are you going to back this country, and you're going to fight for your children to have freedom? Right. Ultimately that. And I say we do. Speaking of that, go veterans, go Memorial Day. Those who have fallen, thank you for your service. All right.
Yes, thank you. No, but I was going to say, I have no time at all for those people that say, oh, we're settlers, we're this, we're that, we're this, we're that. They're having guilt, all this type of stuff. Maybe if you were actually the settler, like, and came over on a ship and murdered everybody and be like, oh, God, I killed all those people and gave them the rest of everybody smallpox. I'm sorry. Ooh. It actually had a guilty conscience because of it. The rest of us, we're all born.
But that's amazing grace. That's amazing grace, like the song "Amazing Grace."
Right. But we were all born here too, and then they're like, oh, but this kind of stuff, and I said, so when the Mohawks would come in and slaughter the Apaches, and then take their land, did those people then say, oh, we're sorry for being settlers on the Apache land, we slaughtered them all, but oh, we're sorry? Like, oh, they're indigenous. I'm like, they're all killing each other, motherfuckers killing each other anyway. It's like, people that apologize for the past, unless it was your generation or like maybe the next one, Like, sorry, my parents, yeah, they didn't mean to do all that stuff to you and kill you all, but nowadays we're all born here. And so anyone else that tries to apologize for something and call us settlers, I'm not a settler.
Listen, you need to have white guilt. You hear me? You see my brownness?
Never.
You see my brownness? You need to have white guilt.
Never. I will not have guilty for being
This is not going to age well, bro.
Nope. Somebody will go back and say, look, they're racist.
They will. Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's going to happen. We're going to. It's good.
That's not how it works.
We went from having 11 people over on Rumble to like
criticism is only a problem if you accept it as a problem. It's like Trump. He's like, you guys can say whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Bitch.
Or it's like other politicians, and they're like, oh, he was seen out in public with Dorothy, the maid, and they say, oh, I'm so sorry. No, I didn't do it. I mean, I'm gonna go be a good Christian now, and this type of stuff. And then there's other and they resigned from office, and the other politicians just go, yeah, so I had a great time. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And the reporters are like, oh, he's not guilty. He doesn't care. All right, next story.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am kind of glad that the whole entire cancel culture is going away. It's still kind of around. You know what's funny is I followed that. Do you know who started it in politics? It was actually the Republicans. They're the actually ones who back in the day when like
the Newt Gingrich era.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And I started cracking up because now it came back to bite them. And then it's just like, call people if they're doing real stuff, right? Like, all right, you're really stealing money. You're doing like stuff that needs to be called out, and you need to be canceled and literally kicked out of office or kicked out of job, right? Like I'm all for Karens who are just total douches. But if you're being a carry, not a Karen, but a carry, okay, and you are making a good point, make that good point, right? Like, don't be a douche. Don't smoke cigarettes in the freaking bathroom, dog. Like, get out, right? I'll be a carry there, but they call it Kevin's. So Karen and Kevin are the same, but if you're going to be a male and you're going to be a Kevin, what's another K word for Kevin or?
Oh, I've got the. I don't know if I didn't mean to.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Sorry, I was just seeing what was going on here. The king is in town here. King and queen are here. They're at. Oh, good. They put all the Muslim people in front to talk to him. That's always a good plan. Oh, they're giving him shit. I swear, these people here in Canada, they drive you crazy. Anyway, sorry everybody. I've got the king is here in town, and I've got it in my ear here. He's over at Lansdowne Park right now. They've got a hockey team out there. It's 60 degrees out. They've got a hockey team greeting him. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. Oh. If you're there, Pedro, you're on mute.
So don't be afraid to be a Karen. Or excuse me, don't be afraid to be a Carrie or a Kirk. That's what I'm gonna say. Like Kirk, off of
Star
Trek. Yeah. Don't be afraid to be a Kirk, a captain who happens to be standing up and calling out BS. And don't be afraid to be a Carrie, not a Karen. Okay, but if you're being a Karen, just understand, be able to call that out. All right. Anyways, I gotta go because I gotta use I gotta go take a break. I'll be back in a second.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in Ottawa, Ontario. We've got the as they say, the monarch visiting. Let's see if we can bring up the. My system is frozen. Great. Good. All right, my system is frozen, so I can't do anything with that. Well, not working. Just thanks everyone watching us on Rumble right now. I would bring up the. Let's do this instead. Let's bring it onto the. Nope, I can't do that. Let's try and bring it here. That's not going to work. Let's see that. Let's try this. CTV news. See if they've got it public here. Yes, they do. All right, so we can do that instead. This program's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway, here you can see the over the shoulder here. The king is walking around here in his springtime beige suit. A nice chappy. Anyway, whether you're a monarchist or not, it's a big deal to have the person who's on your money. And the Canadians, the king is now on their money. The king, 78 years old now, I think, or 73 or something. Suffering all sorts of cancer, this type of stuff. We got the prime minister there with them. Got the queen. They're going around being introduced to various hold on one second here. My feed went away here. But it's been since 1977 that the Queen was here. And before that, it had been since 1957. So obviously it's been a long time. It's been 40-some years since the reigning monarch was here, the King or Queen of Canada. Their children have been here a number of times. Well, Prince Charles has been to Canada 20 times prior to becoming king. And frankly, I was hoping it would send the Bitcoin market tanking here, but it didn't. But I can't, system is not letting me, and I don't know why. Not letting me put this on the screen. All right, that's just dead out, frozen. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a slow day here. The U.S. markets are closed today. Chicago Mercantile Exchange is closed. The New York Stock Exchange is closed. Brando Commando, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Pedro is just on a quick bio break here. We're talking the markets. It's a little slow today because the main markets are closed. Still, doesn't matter. There's plenty of things to talk about. Over my shoulder here, the King is visiting Canada here, just down the street, about 2 miles from here in an area called Lansdowne Park. And then he's going to trollop on by down the street here and head out to what's called Rideau Hall, where the Governor General, his appointee to be the head of state for Canada. And they've turned the music or the sound off for some reason. Why, I don't know. Anyway, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. A lot of people in Canada have moved on past the days of the monarchy, but his troops came in and took everything. Took everything from the indigenous people that were living here, just like has happened in every culture everywhere. And he owned the whole country, and then only out of generosity actually kind of abdicated that role of owning everything and allowed a democracy to form. That is in which he is built into that process is what's called a constitutional monarchy, and only is a monarch of limited powers. It's not like the old days when they can do whatever he wants, just off with people's heads. It's not like the past emperors of Japan, or even the kings in the Middle East back in the day, and to this day, there's still a lot of kingdoms around the world in which the monarch is above the law. and they create the law for everybody else, and they can do whatever they want. But that's not the case here in Canada, just like the UK. And many of the European countries now have what's called constitutional monarchies. And I realize this is not talking about Bitcoin. It's just an interesting thing going on down the street here. And tomorrow we are going to have Christopher Alexander in substituting for me during the part of the show when the king is going to be going in the official state landau. And the RCMP horses are going to escort him from the Bank of Canada to the Senate building here in Ottawa to give as they say, the speech from the throne. And I'm going to go watch that. And Chris is going to take over for me and all that type of stuff. So that it'll be a fun day tomorrow, a little pomp and circumstance, and a whole bunch of horse poop. But that will be for tomorrow. Let's take a look back at Bitcoin here. Coming back up here, and now my trade is in the negative. All things we're saying, that thing is going to roll over and die on us today towards the end of the day as the volume gets even lighter. But that's not happening. Didn't happen. Not sure if Pedro is back yet. He is not. All right, now why did the sound go away? It's not just me, it's the whole feed from the event itself that they're not having sounds. Oh, there's the mayor. The mayor's out there. Oh, the environment minister, Minister Guilbeault. Or he's not minister, he's not environment anymore. What is he? Oh, the national identity, right. And they're coming into an indigenous exhibit, and he happens to be wearing the exact same suit as the king. It's like showing up at a wedding, a woman showing up at a wedding and wearing the same dress as the bridesmaids. Not going to work. Or wearing a white dress, same as the bride. Anyway, waiting for Pedro to come back here. Bitcoin is doing its thing. Oh, they got the sound back. I'm sparing you from that sound, but I'm listening it to the ear, see what's going on. Anyway, let's take a larger look at Bitcoin here. Rerun the pricing here. Bring the pricing. Can't actually see it. There you go, 101,195. Why is this doing that? My broadcast software, every time I click something, it's just going boom, giving that Windows no-go sound. Yeah. But anyway, let's do this for today then. Let's just end the show where we are now. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Let's put the Go music on. I can't even do that. Something going on with the system here. You recognize that sound? That is the sound of it's time to go. We'll look for the last comment here. Ladies and gentlemen, had a good show today. We're going to be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. On behalf of Pedro, Garcia, and my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to have hosted another great episode of this show. Thanks to everybody that tuned in and commented. Really appreciate it. For those of you watching on the replay, the fact that you got to the end of the show and listened to me say this is amazing. Let's keep it up. Let's have a good day. Invest wisely. Stay smart out there. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.